Hi guys. I'm going to talk about a little testimony. Something that happened to me back in 2009. Yeah, I was coming off of college. I was going through something before, depression and stuff, but afterwards, when I felt like if everything was finished for me, my mind was kind of screwed up because of all the different things I would let in, by hearing people don't believe in God and people just finding reasons why not to believe in God. And all these things sound plausible to me, and the more I try to seek God, the more these things came up in my mind. So what happened was that um, I started feeling uneasy in my spirit, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to believe in, and it was a horrible experience, seriously. And then what happened was that I started to find victory, bit by bit. I went for deliverance, and I was like, yeah, God got me back on the right track. And I went to something called UFS. There, everything went down the drain again. And it was 7 times as worse. And I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. Everybody was laughing, but yeah, I couldn't find joy. I couldn't find peace. I couldn't find nothing like that in life. I was like burning up on the inside, and I mean, it was so horrible. I can't have fun like all the others. I know, just seeing people laughing. You try to laugh, but it wasn't how you felt on the inside. It was disgusting. Um, Even though I still was pushing for God, I still pushed and pushed and pushed, even though, it seemed like if everything was ending, And I mean, I was like, God, how much worse could this get? I remember when I came back home, I felt so lifeless and so empty. I actually took a pen and like, like cut myself with it because like I didn't know if I was still alive, and I was angry. It's like, can I still feel, the way I'm still human, And it was like, oh my gosh, I was like, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And I was like, God, please help me. But it seemed like God wasn't answering me. I felt like God was just all the way up there. And I was saying, why am I not hearing God? So what happened is that I was looking at something that God won't forgive me of if I ever committed it. And I mean, I was saying that I didn't do it, and my mom was saying, no, stuff, you didn't do it, you didn't do it. And I was like, yay, I didn't do it. But coming on with that now, I remember nighttime as I was laying down, the thoughts just got dropped into my head. Blasphemous thought, blasphemy, and that floored me. I was like, God don't love me no more. I just committed something that God would never forgive me of, I was like, God, do you still love me? God, you still love me? And I felt hopeless, I was like, God, I don't mean it, God, please help me. And the more I tried not to think about it, the more I started to think about it. And it was a horrific experience, and it actually drove me to commit suicide numerous times because it's like, God doesn't love me anymore. I have no hope. It makes no sense of me living, and all I could think about was hell, how horrible it would be, But God, then God said, you should be true to others, and they should never overwhelm you. You should be true to fires, and they should never scorch your clothing. So even though I was going through that, the enemy thought he had the upper hand, but what God said, that is nothing can separate me from his love, how far the west is from the east, as far as you go east, you end up going west. So what God was telling me is that, Stefan, I love you no matter what. And what made me realize is that it wasn't me, it was just a plan of the enemy to use these fiery darts to defeat me, to cause me to really go down. And what I learned from it was that, what I can do is just fight on, And even though it was lonely and stuff, it drove me closer to God. So the evil thoughts the enemy placed in my mind were the same thoughts that drove me to the same place he wanted to take me from. That was at the foot of Jesus Christ. And I learned a lot. I learned so much from it, because without these things happening in my life, I would probably be an atheist right now, because I do sciences, and you know, science, I love science. I like, you know, all these things sound plausible and stuff, but God had a different plan for me. So what I can say is that to anybody who is watching this, you know, if you experience blasphemous thoughts, remember they're not from you, because I suffered. I suffered from them, and it nearly drove me crazy, because I didn't have the knowledge of it. But no, you have the knowledge. You know, it's not you. It's just a tool of the enemy to use to defeat you. You know, you haven't committed a sin. You haven't done anything like that. You know, even if you say that, you know, in your mind, even if it made a slip out your mouth, you haven't done it, because the thing is, it's like this here. You won't want God. A person who continually hardens their heart towards God is gone, because it's like only true death, you know, because what Jesus was saying, you know, if you do this, you know, you won't have forgiveness here on the world to come. What he was saying is that, you know, if you continually do this, if you continually say these things, if you deliberately say them, you know that that's your fault. But if you're in love with God, and you find yourself having these obscene and disgusting thoughts, remember, you fight against, or you don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers in high places. So remember, it's the devil. So don't give up on Christ. Just fight through, you know, run closer, because now look at me, you know, victory is mine, you know, because God fought the battle for me. And don't try to do it on yourself. Don't try to think it through, because if you try to think it through, it won't help, you know. Just give it over to God, you know. Just say, God, I love you, and God, I will push for you, you know. And the more you push for God, the more you'll understand his love, the more you'll understand how deep and how great his love is. So remember, nothing can separate you from the love of God. You know, not principalities, not powers, not angels, not demons. Nothing can separate you from God. You know, God loves you, so don't give up. You know, fight through it, because like what it was like, you know, it got so bad. It was like, you're crazy, stuff like you're crazy. Like I did. God don't want you, God don't love you. But that's a lie. I read the Bible said God so loved the world, you know. And then what fourth testament to my spirit was that God continually gave me revelations about his love. So once you have that happen in your life, that means that you're okay. You know, just fight. Search for God. Don't stop till you hear. Not even till you hear. Don't stop till you die. Because just fight till you hear his voice. And trust me, you will hear his voice. Stefan Ford, aka Dramicus, signing off. So, you know, I'll bless you in the name of Jesus, you know, through the power of the Holy Spirit, and by God Almighty. And I pray that God will grant you strength and wisdom and peace of mind. Shalom. I pray that he will grant you all the insight into the plans and the strategies of the enemy. I pray you give you wisdom to deal with each and every one of these thoughts. And I pray that God will grant you the strength to face this testing and this mourning, because what the word says is that all things work together for those who love the Lord. So if you love God, just remember all these things are here to make you stronger.